Hey guys, it's Lil Nogi Tales here, and I'm gonna do part 3 of Johan Liebert's character analysis. And in this part, I'm basically gonna be talking about the major relationships he had with the various characters he interacts with in Monster. So, the first group I want to talk about is basically the followers he has. And with the followers, he basically has a set formula for how he interacts with them, and that is he basically observes them and then he relates or pretends to relate so that they're willing to follow him and do his bidding. So let's start off with the most major follower he has, and that's Roberto. With Roberto, he was also a person from 511 Kinderheim. And if you remember what Grimmer said, he was a good kid, and his favorite thing, and the only thing he remembers was the hot cocoa. He tells this. He also tell we also hear about this when he's choking Lunge out, and basically Johan used that. What he says to Lunge was, he reminded me of that happiness that I had with the only happiness I had there in 511 Kinderheim, and that was the hot cocoa. And from then on, he was, Johan's main goonie. The second follower I wanted to talk about was Christoph. I think his name was Christoph, but he was basically the other 511 Kinderheim. And if you remember, when Johan was tearing that place up, he was Christoph was hiding, and by the end of it all, Johan, kind of he looks like the savior. He's holding his hand out, the light shining through. He's smiling. He looks like a god, and he says, "We're basically the only survivors left." And in Kristoff's mind, they have a special bond. They're the only two survivors, and they promise later on to meet up with one another again and formulate to try to plan. I forgot what the plan was. I think it was like dominate the world. I don't think it's like that, but politically. And so Johan uses him. And the other ones are basically just the regular serial killers. We have, I'd say, the guy with the crazy glasses. I don't remember his name, but yeah, he killed himself with a pen. But he basically, when he was telling his story to, I forgot his name, but he was Gillen. When he was telling his story to Gillen, he was talking about how he started receiving these letters that empathized and sympathized with him. No, empathized with him. And at first he was annoyed, but then keep as it kept on coming, there we go. He began to enjoy and actually look forward to them until to the part where he saw him as a friend. And when Johan in one time in one of the letters asked him to kill someone, he actually did it. That's how powerful Johan is. And I'll give one more example. And this guy was the one who took Johan and Anna in after they ran away from the hospital. And basically he was, how should I say, he was the one that was beating a guy up for abusing his dog. And Johan saves him from, going to jail, and he basically manipulates him saying, "Yeah, we should get rid of all the trash in the world, these scum." And yeah, that's how that guy went into a serial killer, and there are many more examples, but I'll stop there. And yeah, the second group is basically the people that he tried to apply image for a doomsday with. And with Wolf, Wolf was the guy who found Johan, who gave him his name, and I believe that Johan was extremely grateful to him as well. He's the one who sent him to Kinderheim, and he applies image of the doomsday, which was basically isolating him from anybody. No one knows who he is until the point where no one can prove that the wolf he is who he was. Because no one who knew him is still alive. And I think that was Johan's sick way of gratitude. And yeah, he applied the same thing to Tenma. Now he tried to do the same thing to Shuvalt, but that was because he wanted to gain financial. He at first he wanted to kind of control the bank, since Shuvalt was the vampire of Liberia, I think it was. But by isolating him and getting close with, by introducing his son, he could control Carl to control him, and he basically controlled the banks. But as we know, he changed his mind later on. Now on to the key relationships. So let's talk about Tenma. The first thing is that he does feel gratitude towards Tenma. It's probably just him and Anna that he really cares about. And if you remember the first time Johan comes back after the time skip, when he sees Tenma, he says, I really am grateful, and I see you as a father figure to me. And he doesn't even want Tenma to at first find out who he is, find out about his past. He says, you must not know about it. But later on, as he's roaming about, he realizes, Tenma knows, and he plants the perfect suicide. And he wanted Tenma to see the image of a doomsday and kill him, so that it'd only be him and Anna that knew of his existence, or knew of his, his full story. As for the second person I talk about is for Nina. Well, let me talk about the mom first. It's kind of ambiguous, but at the end of the episode, I don't know if it's real or not, if it actually happened. But, he was talking to Tenma, and he says, the choice that his mother between Anna and him was something that it seemed like got into his mind. I don't know if that's real or not, but if that's the case, then his mom is, he's trying to kind of imply that his mom had a big part in making him into the monster that he was. So let's move on to the final and I'd say most important relationship, and that is Anna. And the one thing he describes Anna as is his other self. You know, it's like the book in the show, The Nameless Monster. They split up. They're basically one in his mind. And like he said before, he said when he was in Kinderheim, when they were listening to when Tenma and Grimmer were listening to the videotapes, he said they were asking him what he's most afraid of, and that was, I think, losing Anna. Or, I mean, forgetting Anna, and also, he says he feels like Anna and him are the only two people in the world. What else? Oh, it's also important to notice that whenever Anna and Johan are separated, that is the only time we kind of see Johan in sort of panic mode. Like in Kinderheim, I think is the biggest one, especially with the videotapes, and it's really the only time we see him vulnerable. And the Red Rose Mansion when he was talking and he was confessing everything, he took everything as his own. That's probably how close they were, and also partly due to his mental unstableness, and he thought those memories were his own. Um, yeah. So that was basically it. Oh, and one more thing for Anna, he really does know her well. I mean, when he was cross-dressing as her, I thought that was when he was talking to I forgot his name, the detective. But when he was talking, I thought for sure that was Anna, and oh man, he could sound like her, he could act like her. That was a huge surprise for me. Damn. I was speechless after that, but that's it. That's the rest of my analysis, and I'm sorry it took so long. I really am, but I've been testing, and yeah, and I've been reading Slam Dunk. I actually just finished recently, and it was pretty good. And leave your thoughts down below on what I should review next as a character, a series, whatever you guys want. All right. So it's Little Nogi Tales here, and thanks for watching.